Hello and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast. I'm Terri Morrow and I'm here with Catherine Haleko. Say hi, Catherine.
Hi, Terri.
Usually on this podcast we talk about parenting issues, but once a week, Catherine and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, and other entertainment topics because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change. This week, we're going to talk about the Emmy Awards. We're also going to discuss the latest episode in our West Wing watch and Catherine's challenge round pick, Grand Designs. But first, Dancing with the Stars is back, and I don't know about you, Catherine, but it seems like a really promising season.
It was fun. I thought it was a good show. It went by quickly.
It did. I think letting the judges blather less is probably a good idea.
Yes. Absolutely.
At least this early on.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think they all did relatively well based on their particular abilities.
Yeah. I did not care for Barbara, which was like the return of Charo, and who was the return of Paula Deen.
I was uncomfortable with the shtick they were giving to Barbara, but I also thought that she could actually dance. It looked like she was doing some steps. She wasn't just shimmying and, being danced around. So I think she has potential if they immediately drop all this crud. And just let her be,
I know,
an interesting person. I'm sure she has stuff.
She seemed to really want to play that up instead of...
She did. Well, in which case she can be an early one to go.
Right.
If that's all she's got.
Right.
Then, because this is seems to me to be a very strong and appealing field generally. So, hard to think who you want to go. So, okay.
All right.
I hope that she has something else. I also thought that Sasha seemed a little weak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she didn't leave much impression on me, I just was like, okay, she's just kind of there.
Yeah, I thought she was looking like she wasn't that into it, but some people on the chat I was following felt that she was just really, really nervous. Mm-hmm. So I'll give her another week. And I'm interested to see how people do next week. I guess they're already eliminating somebody and then
2 people.
Somebody again on Tuesday.
Right.
So that's kind of quick. I hope it's nobody that I particularly like. But I could make a case for all of them. So which is not always the case. So
right.
Well done, casting person.
I was surprised by I enjoyed Vanessa more than I thought I would. I thought she was kind of cute and funny, although, please, with the sequin baby Bjorns, that was weird. But
we can blame that on Max.
Yeah. She was
that
fun.
Was silly, but her personality was terrific.
Yeah, and
she seemed like she's really going to be fun. He seemed like a little more of a stiff, but...
Yeah, well, it didn't help that he repeated the same lame line in his introduction than it was in the package. He already figured that out to say, okay.
Not so good.
But yeah, and Victoria too, I thought was very
what
cute.
A story.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Plus, she's just adorable. So
yeah, absolutely,
very appealing package. I just worry with her. It's like, is this good for her?
Right.
Have her doctor signed off on this? Is exerting herself to that degree? Although, I think we talked about this last week. She's an athlete, so I guess it's okay. But I wish her well. She's very cute. And I thought Jordan Fisher did well. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed watching him. I see Lin-Manuel Miranda tweeted in his favor the phone numbers to call. So he should be good. Yeah, I think. Many people following and responding to the tweet by saying, I'm calling right now. So
very good.
That will be helpful. I was wondering if he was going to acknowledge it at all or if Dancing with the Stars was sort of beneath his cultural view. But I guess you will represent for Jordan. So that's good. Yeah. So I didn't think the scoring seemed really, really low, which is fine for the first week.
Right. Some of them seemed pretty low to me.
Yeah.
I thought for Nikki and Artem, their scores seemed high.
Yeah.
Because she was very I felt like she was so playing a part, I'm a tough girl, and I don't know. I guess everybody has to do something a little bit like that, but I don't know. That didn't work for me.
The song that she was dancing to, that was appropriate too. And it's like, in the first week, oftentimes their dance reflects whatever they're known for.
Right, like the basketball guy.
Yeah. But certainly like Terrell and Debbie and who is they both got scored way lower than I think they would have later in the night. Mm-hmm. People got scored higher than them who were not better than them.
Yeah, I thought Terrell's was pretty good.
Yeah.
And Debbie, it looked pretty smooth, although I sort of felt like instead of the mists of hiding footwork, she had the skirt of hiding footwork.
She did. I thought she was very good, but sweetie, it's a long contest. Don't use up all your My Triumph Over Lyme Disease material in the first week. Right. It's not becoming.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
Especially since, and here's this girl who was in a vegetative state for 4 years and just learned to walk last year. It's like,
and still can't feel her legs, by the way.
Can't feel her legs, yes. Interesting in that it wasn't a group that seemed really well-known or anything, but I think they got a good mix of personalities. I could see these people having fun together over the course of the season.
Yeah.
A lot of very good attitudes. I thought the property brother did okay, which Drew is the one it is, right?
Yes. I thought he was a little bit on the stiff side, but he was still entertaining and,
yes, that
cute.
Is going to be his niche.
Right.
Stiff but entertaining. And he seems willing to step into that part. Mm-hmm. I don't think Emma's going to repeat, but it should be fun while they last.
Right. Yeah, I thought Jordan and Vanessa were probably the top from this.
Me too.
From today.
Me too. Lindsay was also very good, but a little muggy.
Was. Mm-hmm.
And I hope that will get toned down a little bit as we go along.
Right.
But she danced very well. Mm-hmm. Possibly because she
is a performer.
Yes. But, it's what makes the show entertaining. I was debating this with my husband the other day because he's like, they should all not know how to dance when they start. And it's like, well, that would be fair, but it would also be really boring.
Right.
So you have to have some sort of ringers so that you can have some good dances on the first week. Mm-hmm. But they don't necessarily know ballroom. So
yeah, I mean, that's definitely what you're getting with Jordan Fisher. I mean, he's danced on Broadway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he knows how to move. And so does Lindsay. And so does Vanessa.
Right.
So, I'm looking forward to this. And my daughter actually sat on the couch with me and stayed awake for the entire thing and said at the end that she thought that was really good and it's going to be a good season. So usually halfway through, she's off to bed.
Right. Well, that's exciting.
My 27-year-old falls asleep around 9:30 all the time. So she stayed up for it and she enjoyed it. So that's a good sign.
My 15-year-old just watched Lindsay because she happened to be nearby at that time. She was in the middle of doing a lot of homework, but she enjoyed watching Lindsay. Although when she saw Mark, she's like, is that a mullet? It does look kind of mullety.
Yeah, I think the men's hairstylist on this show needs to sit a few of these guys down and say,
Artem. Oh, no. Artem with the bleach blonde. No, thank you.
Yeah. I don't know what Jordan's got going on with his hair either, but that's his thing, I guess.
Yeah.
But you can't necessarily legislate the stars, but you can tell the pros, you look ridiculous.
Right.
Change your hair.
Yeah.
So, good start.
Yeah.
And very much looking forward to this season. I think it could conceivably be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Maybe not such a lot of fun. We'll see what you think. We watched the Emmys. And they were a thing that happened.
Yes.
It was hard for me to focus on it. I think it was not as bad as I thought it was going to be in terms of politics. I mean, certainly in all of Colbert's material, it was a big deal. But not so much in the speeches, I didn't feel.
And also, there was not a whole lot of Colbert, which was kind of good. Like, they did sort of keep it moving with just a bigger focus on awards and not so much on the, like, little bits And
except that, I mean, they had the thing with RuPaul as the Emmy.
Yes, and they had the Westworld thing, which I thought went on way too long.
They had him and Jimmy Kimmel in the audience, and those are all fine, except when you then have to cut off Sterling K. Brown in the middle of his very entertaining speech.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you say, why did we spend 5 minutes doing that instead of, 45 more seconds doing this?
Exactly.
And it's a gripe I have with awards shows. Why don't they try putting all their sketches in the second half? Because then you can cut a sketch if you need to. Mm-hmm. They do all this stuff at the beginning, and at the end, they're hustling people off, unless they're movie stars, in which case they can talk for 10 minutes. Nobody cares. But
yeah, Nicole Kidman can keep going.
Yeah, cutting off his speech was really bad for a lot of reasons. It didn't look good, and it was bad from an entertainment point of view, because his speech was really good, and I think we all wanted to hear more of it.
Yes.
It was clearly he had thought out... done, he had thought this out.
Right.
He wasn't just rambling. If somebody's rambling and thanking their agent, okay, I don't care. But if somebody's doing something that's thought out and good, so that they got to figure out how not to do that. Mm-hmm. And that was like one of the biggest awards of the evening too.
Yes.
And also CBS, not for nothing, one of the very, very few awards that went to a primetime network show.
Main network, yeah, not a streaming show.
So this is, Hulu people, take all the time you want. NBC person, I'm sorry, go.
Yeah, bye.
We don't care about you. So that was weird.
Yeah.
And then that retroactively made me hate all the business earlier.
But I'm glad that he won, because I really like him. He won last year for playing Chris Darden.
Yes.
And he is so good on This Is Us.
I watched a few episodes of This Is Us, and I didn't keep up with it, but he was very good. He was clearly one of the best things about it. And also, I believe Gerald McCraney won for like a guest, just not in the...
He did.
On the non-broadcast
like
one,
on
but he got
the
to present an award, I guess,
part.
on the basis of that. So, yay! He was my favorite part of the pilot. But still waiting for that spinoff.
Yes.
With him as a folksy obstetrician.
Could happen.
Could happen.
Right. Never know. I mean, I was surprised when they brought him back just for an part of an episode, which they didn't need to. It wasn't a main part of the story, but
I guess they liked him too. So that was of all the things that were nominated and won. This Is Us and Master of None were the only things I had actually watched. So it was like, yay! Something I sort of know about won. Yay. You go.
Yeah, I've seen The Crown, and John Lithgow won for that, but did not see Big Little Lies. Read the book, and we talked about it with Nicole because she watched the series. Right. But Handmaid's Tale, I just can't. I can't. I know it's really good, but it's just too hard. So
not fun.
Haven't watched it. Probably won't.
No.
But yeah, This Is Us. Yeah, I don't watch Atlanta. Like there were a lot of things that I hadn't seen.
Yeah. So. Yeah, Atlanta is something I might theoretically watch if we decide we want to do it somewhere down the line. Is it on something that you can just go watch it? No, it's on FX, right?
If it's on FX, then we could.
There are too many purveyors of entertainment. It's hard to keep them straight.
Yeah, but if it's on FX, that should be. I bet it's on demand somewhere.
Yeah, that's true.
On cable.
Netflix apparently got royally
shut out.
Yeah,
to put it politely.
That's right. It did not do well. Right. Somebody is getting yelled at or possibly fired today for the way Netflix
Although Master of None is on Netflix.
That's true.
And
okay.
They got that nice writing award.
Yes. And that was a good episode and well written. And, certainly that
And I enjoyed that Lena Waithe gave the entire speech.
Right.
And then they cut to commercial and Aziz Ansari was like, he looked at the microphone, then he was like, never mind. And he walked away. Like, I think, clearly this was not my turn.
I think he made a better statement just standing there supportively than it would have been for him to say something. It would have been anticlimactic at that point. Mm-hmm. So, good for him.
Yes.
But absolutely. Whoever they had doing the announcements, that seemed really unnecessary.
Yes. And sometimes he was talking over... like into their time when they could have been giving their speech.
Like giving little bits of trivia that seemed incredibly random.
Right. And I get it if it's taking them a long time to walk up and you need something to say, but sometimes he was still going on when they were standing there, like just waiting for him to finish so they could talk.
Would you shut up? I only have 30 seconds.
Exactly. We don't have time for you.
Yeah. What award show was it one year that did like trivia bits about the winners in a crawl at the bottom of the screen?
Oh, I don't remember.
Maybe it was Golden Globes. It was something which, with my eyesight I couldn't always read it, but every now and then something really weird would go by and you go, what was that? So I think they were trying for that, but it was not working. And
wasn't as successful as it could have been.
And happy to see Chris Jackson there singing. Mm-hmm. I agree with you that the photo frame way of showing people was weird.
Yes, and on Twitter, somebody, I believe it was Joe Reed, said like, well, there's a tribute to the All My Children opening credits.
That was designed for people with big screen TVs, because for those of us mere mortals with tiny screens, it's like it was hard to even see.
Yeah.
Plus, which somebody turned the captioning on our TV. I think my husband was putting things on caption when I was working out in the living room so that he could have the volume turned way down. So it's like the captioning kept covering up.
Oh, the picture, so you don't even know who he's talking
who is
about. Yeah, it just made all the pictures smaller. It was just
weird.
Weird.
The whole necrology thing is weird.
It always is, yeah.
Popularity contest. But the song that he was singing, he was very good. The backup singers, didn't they sound like they were like piped in or something? There was something weird about them. Mm-hmm. And I think the song reminded me, I think my dad used to sing that song to our dog. I'll be loving you always. My dad could not sing like Chris Jackson or really like anybody. He couldn't sing at all, but he would get the dog on his lap after he'd had a few beers and serenade her with that song.
That's cute.
And she looked at him with big brown eyes of love.
Right.
So it made me sort of deflated the moment remembering that.
Yes. It wasn't quite what they were going for, probably.
I don't think so. But I can remember
wonderful.
him in an in memoriam thing, I guess. I don't know. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus again. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's just, put her name on all of them until Veep is off.
And this is it. I think this is the last season.
No, I think there's one more season, so she'll be up for one more.
That's what I mean. Yeah, one more.
Yeah.
They're showing the last one, like, now or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. A show I've never watched. Have you watched it?
I have not. I'm sure
I wish
it's
it
very
well.
good.
I wish her
and I
well.
do like her.
Yeah.
But
I think it's a reflection of her popularity and personality and contacts and everything, that people don't just hate her living guts, because other people who've won it that many times in a row, people would be mad at them, and they don't seem to be mad at her. They just seem to be generally thinking that there should be a better way to do this. Allison Janney won a whole bunch in a row for West Wing. Not this many, I guess, but she was, for a while, I think she was sort of the automatic choice.
Gotta love CJ.
And she was good in her little bits. But apparently it got like the lowest ratings ever or something.
Yes.
This is the problem for them, is they feel all good about themselves when they celebrate all these edgy cable things, but nobody is, or not even cable, all these edgy streaming or whatever, all these different things, but people aren't watching those things. Probably more people watched This Is Us than watched everything else that won combined. Mm-hmm. And so who's going to watch your little awards show? Go stream it on Netflix and see how it does. So it's hard to get excited about it.
And it was up against the Packer game. And the Packers lost terribly.
Now, our live tweet, I think we're out of practice on live tweeting. We gotta stop. I couldn't think of anything to tweet.
We were a little sluggish.
Very sad. There wasn't even any dresses I felt like making a big comment upon.
Yeah, I mean, there were some very pretty ones, and there wasn't much where you were like, oh, that's just hideous. Like, stop. Yeah.
There wasn't. Even the ones that made me laugh weren't really hideous. I mean, Sarah Paulson's dress made me think of Jiffy Pop popcorn.
That was
and very, some
very,
right now.
very shiny. Yes.
I don't know. Reese Witherspoon had like a jacket but no pants or something.
Yeah, it was like
she had an interesting getup
dress, and it was short. It didn't look quite as fancy as everybody else's.
Yes. And speaking of short, I applaud her acceptance of her height, but constantly placing her between Nicole Kidman and Laura Dern was ridiculous. Get the girl a spangly box to stand on so you can get them all in the same shot. Or at least have her stand next to Zoe Kravitz when you have all 5 of them up there. Come on. That was when they were interviewing them on the red carpet. I'm looking at the 3 of them and going, I was remembering our discussions from So You Think You Can Dance that one season where they needed to give the guy a box to stand on.
Jackie.
Reese needed that box. They could have borrowed that from So You Think You Can Dance.
Yep, there you go.
So
the Emmys.
Another Emmys. We give you the Emmys.
That's right.
All right. So moving on, we watched the West Wing episode We Killed Yamamoto, which had in it what I recall correctly as a really annoying Josh and Amy plot.
Yeah.
The point at which she throws your phone into the stew is the point at which you break up. I'm sorry. That was, you can have a healthy spirit of competition.
Well, and
it's bad enough she kind of got information from him and then acted on it. But
yeah, and just the whole way that she sort of, it's like if she hadn't found that out from him, like if she found it out another way, would she wouldn't have done all this stuff, She just sort of it felt very spiteful, I think.
It did, and immature. Mm-hmm. And I guess if you feel passionately about this and this is your life's work to do these things, then you do what it takes, but then don't date the guy, Well,
and also he needs to get clued into the fact, like, don't tell her.
Yeah, but then at the same time, if she finds out later, then it's a thing.
Right.
But, there need to be rules. I think it seemed to me like she crossed the line pretty far. And then, threw stew on it. So
she crossed the line and then she threw stew on it.
Their relationship goes from there, but I was pretty done with it as of this one. That was not right. I thought Donna going to North Dakota was fairly hilarious, although it didn't really go anywhere. But
yeah, it had me kind of stressed out on her behalf. Like,
yeah, I thought people were gonna like really come at her.
Yeah,
but like they're Midwesterners and they're polite, so it's fine.
Yeah, it. I was all worried that she was gonna get, have
she did
like
kind
a
of snark
gaffe, So
well, I mean, she did go off script and point out that they were in fact. It was in fact very cold there,
and also that she kept reinforcing, like, they only sent me because I'm like the 4th string, just so you know.
Not too insulting.
I can't say anything.
I'm really
about
a powerless nobody who came to read a piece of paper. This is how much the administration values your
I know,
support.
like if she was going to keep saying that, then she was really defeating the purpose of her having gone there at all.
But nobody seemed too upset about it.
No.
So, is that actually a thing in North Dakota? Do you know? You're closer there than I am.
I have never heard that. I don't know for sure, but I have never heard that. So, and I was thinking the same thing when they said, like, South Dakota has this many million visitors and North Dakota only has this many, and she's like, well, but they have Mount Rushmore, which is exactly what I was thinking. Like,
yeah,
I did travel to North Dakota last year, and it wasn't even that cold, but there wasn't a whole lot to do.
Donna telling it like it is. So what other plots do we have? Oh, we have Charlie looking for a secretary, and then at the end saying he found her, but we have to wait till next week.
Right, we don't know who she is yet.
Yes. Have you read ahead on Wikipedia? Do you know who she is?
So, be quiet.
I have hints I could give you, but I won't.
Okay. And we had a little more of CJ and Simon.
Yes.
The whole
so cute
shooting range.
They mentioned on the podcast in his interview with them that scene where she shoots the gun and falls on the floor and how really well she did that.
She's good at the pratfalls.
She is. It's a skill. Mm-hmm. But yes, that whole thing was very cute. And I enjoyed the little rom-com of it, especially as our other romantic couple was
being annoying.
Being not so much.
Exactly.
I much prefer Simon and CJ.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the whole thing with, you get the great scene between John Amos and John Spencer.
Oh, I love that scene. That was so wonderful. They are both very good. And John Amos was so great in this part. And it continues pretty much, for a while longer. And it's always fun when he shows up. And the two of them in particular have a good, I don't know if you call it chemistry in that case, but a good rapport.
Yeah.
They seem like...
Well, they're like two old soldiers, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I really liked the way it started out very light, and then they were both sort of dancing around it, and then Amos pretty much brought it. Mm-hmm. This is what we need to do.
Right.
So, yeah, that was very nice. The cute little comment about shampoo.
Did you change your shampoo?
Wasn't there a scene earlier where they were commenting on the coffee or something like that?
Oh, probably. Yeah.
Like earlier seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But they like doing that.
Right.
Starting off with something a little frivolous. So that was that whole plot line is kind of fraught. But that scene I enjoyed.
Yeah, me too.
Sam's getting back in the game, I guess.
Right. They're trying to...
Down, but not out.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Dusting himself off. But staying angry. We want him angry.
We want him angry. Exactly.
That should not be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, are we missing any other plot lines from that or anything that was on the podcast of interest? It was just a talking it over episode. They didn't have any guests
they didn't have a guest. So, yeah, no. I think we kind of covered it. So.
Okay. I think we got everybody in there.
Yeah, we did.
So, we'll move on from West Wing now to our challenge round for the week. Catherine, you challenged me to watch the show Grand Designs, which I had never heard of before, but enjoyed very much.
Yeah.
Is this a BBC show, or where has it been that I haven't heard of it?
I don't really know. It's British for sure. But I'm not sure where it's been all our lives, but it's
There's quite a lot of it. It's been around for a while.
It's got a lot of seasons, but I haven't seen too much of it. But I just think it's fun to see sort of the British take on the home makeover show.
Yeah. Now, who is the guy, the host? What is his background that makes him eligible to comment on people's stuff?
Let's find out.
He must be somebody, right?
I don't know.
We paid close attention and researched this well.
Right. Well, I enjoyed how he sort of talked back to the people who were on the show. The way he was just telling people what was a good idea and what wasn't, or why things were going to work or not work. And
yeah. But then he sort of was pleasant in the end. He didn't... well, of course, that house turned out to be beautiful,
amazing.
I thought.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
that was
crazy. Really...
I mean, I would not... when they were saying concrete, it was like, ugh. But, I didn't realize, as neither did they, that you could do all those different textures.
Right.
So it looks like wood in some places. It looks like brick in other places. In some places, you just have this very rough looking thing. It made such variety. I've just Googled him. It says Kevin MacLeod is the host. He's a British designer, writer, and television presenter. Best known for his work on the Channel 4 series, Grand Designs.
Okay.
So he's a British designer.
There you go.
All right. With opinions.
Yeah,
about
which I
other
think
people's
is
things.
part of what's fun about it.
Not a
right?
fan of concrete.
Yeah, but he was won over.
Yeah. I mean, it was really interesting seeing how it all got done. And what I want, though, now is the sequel where they talk about how they furnished that thing. Because holy cow, did they do a beautiful job. I want to know who their design, I want to see them working with their designer. Forget the walls.
Right.
The furniture was gorgeous.
Where did you get all the furniture?
Just the way everything was appointed, and that was really nice. And they just kind of glossed over that. Oh, well, look, it's like they went down to...
Well, yeah.
They went down to IKEA, and look, now there's furniture everywhere.
Yeah, they kind of ran out of time to
that did not
get
just
into
happen.
that. Mm-hmm.
They didn't just go down to Levitt's and get the British equivalent. Somebody orchestrated that, I'm pretty sure.
Right. But it's a fun show just because of the extremeness of it and the Britishness of it. So
yeah, I was surprised when they knocked down the entire theater except for the front.
Right.
I thought, they're going to convert a theater into a house. Well, no, not so much.
Not really.
They're going to build a house and glue it to the front of a theater.
Right. But still, everybody in town was so thrilled that they were keeping
I was happy that the townspeople were not carrying torches. And, well, it was all concrete, so they wouldn't get very far. But
yeah, the townspeople seemed happy enough that it was just the facade.
Right. They cleaned it up. I guess it's better to have a facade on a big concrete house than to have a all ramshackle building.
Right, or knock it down entirely. And they talked about how it was important to them to stay in the little town and kind of try to make it better instead of disappearing. So that was nice.
Yeah.
So
that was fun. And I like things that end with beautiful homes. I know there might be some episodes where it turns out a disaster at the end. Yes. But
could be.
I do still think that the hydraulic door is ridiculous and that the wife should have said, honey, no. But, because it took like 45 minutes for that thing to open, didn't it?
It did seem like it took a
Daddy,
really long time.
I want to go play. Okay, honey, come back in 45 minutes. Go watch TV for a little while. We'll open the door.
Yeah, but when you're a little kid, you could like limbo out from under it when it's only a little way up.
Well, that's true. It wouldn't have to come up very far, and you could kind of snake your way under.
Right.
And then mom can't get you if you go do something in the backyard. You got a good 15 minutes before mom can crawl under.
She can squeeze under there. Yeah.
I wonder if they just like built a little regular door somewhere off to the side.
I hope so. They might need to.
She said, I'm not waiting for that thing to go up every time I want to go in my garden.
What if they had a dog and they needed to keep letting it in and out?
Well, it's a concrete floor, so
Because I do that like 20 times a day. Go to the back door, open the door, comes back.
They need a little tiny hydraulic door in the big one.
There you go. Oh my gosh. That'll be on the sequel, so.
Yes, there you go. All sorts of possibilities.
So that's Grand Designs.
Yes, that was very fun. I enjoyed that. I might watch some more of that.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing I can watch and work.
Yeah, it's a nice
my favorite sort of TV.
Diversion. Yes.
Yeah. So next week is going to be a little unusual because, for one thing, the West Wing Weekly podcast is once again not having an episode. They're milking out the end of season 3. They
really are.
But is Joshua and Melina trying to put off as long as possible before they get to episodes with him in it? It's coming pretty quick if they don't keep stalling. Right. But they did a special live episode with Aaron Sorkin, and I think maybe Allison Janney was in it too. So they're going to do that episode next week. So we will not be watching an episode, but we will be discussing that podcast episode. And we will be doing that.
As long as there's no spoilers. It didn't sound like it because
I don't think so.
They made a big point of saying there would be in the Mark Harmon one, and they haven't for this one, so I'm hoping.
Yeah. I hope they don't say it at the beginning of it, because they didn't say it a week ahead of time. They just said it. Okay, well, if it happens that you cannot listen to the podcast, we will scurry around and find something else to watch to fill that space. But also, we have an extra day because Dancing with the Stars is going to be on 2 days next week. So we will have to record on Tuesday night and drop this on Wednesday. So look for us on Wednesday with our round 2, with possibly discussion of the West Wing Weekly podcast, discussion of Dancing with the Stars, and my challenge to you this week, especially since we will not have a West Wing episode to watch Mark Harmon in, is another TV episode with Mark Harmon in it, which is an episode of NCIS. Okay. Which you have not watched at all, ever, but are undoubtedly aware of because it has been on like forever. Yes. So, and I think started fairly soon after he was Simon Donovan. Okay. So we're going to watch the season 6, episode 4, Heartland is the name of it. It's on Netflix for those who have Netflix. And, you know, it's a procedural that benefits from kind of knowing all of these characters, but I think you can pretty much get into it without it. Just that Harmon's character, Leroy Jethro Gibbs, is sort of a no-nonsense boss and known for being very good at interrogations and that sort of thing, and well-respected by his team, and possibly slightly feared only in that he will snap at them if they do things wrong. Okay. So this episode plays a little off of that, in that, given the situation, he's not acting like his normal self, so it helps to know what his normal self is. But I think you'll enjoy it. It is what it is. It's a good, solid TV procedural. Okay. And I think he's pretty good in it. So we will watch that episode next week and see what you think. That is going to be it for our round 2 today. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes, including our daily speed rounds and weekly group chats. As always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Goodbye, Catherine.
Bye, Terri.
Goodbye, everybody.